over time, you can't keep showing up in a new vertical, in a new space, and have people say they're still relevant. Because the only thing that is truly irrelevant and timeless is truth. Once you've lost someone's trust, you're done.
Welcome back to the Slayer Day podcast. I am super excited to share with you the next keynote speaker that we had at the Women's Powerhouse podcasting events. And this woman is a powerhouse. She keeps it real, and she is such an incredible marketer, speaker, just overall badass powerhouse woman that I admire and that I feel like is totally crushing it when it comes to business and parenting and just life in general. So our next speaker is Chalene Johnson on the power of authenticity. And I have to say that there is nothing like being in these rooms. Just the feeling of being so connected with the women that are there, the energy, the connections. There's nothing like live events, especially on this level. So I highly, highly encourage you to make sure that you're getting in the room, that you're getting to these events, and that you're participating and making these connections and having these conversations and collaborations. So if you're looking to get in the room, I have some very exciting information for you. The next event that I am so excited to announce is called to Lead, the premier leadership and business growth event that's happening September 25th. Get in the room, be a part of these conversations. This is going to be an epic event that you don't want to miss. So I'm going to put the link down in the description below, and you can also head over to sandyglandt.com/called-to-lead. So again, I'm going to put that down in the show notes. So all you have to do is go click that link, but you got to get in the room. There's early bird pricing right now. We have so many different options for you to not only be in the room, but be a part of the conversation, be a part of some media. Just get in the room. I promise you will be so happy that you did. And before we dive into today's episode, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors that made this event so incredible. We have Sudsie's, which is luxury tailoring and eco-friendly dry cleaning. If you also put the code Sandi into your next order, or you mention it when you call to get your account set up, you will get your first $25 in your dry cleaning services complimentary just for mentioning this event. We also have Tracy Litt from the School of Becoming, Amanda Ferreira, my personal fitness trainer who helped me slay the stage on my fitness competition. We have Natalie Scott from Zaguri Scott, personal injury lawyer. Great friend of mine, incredible resource to have in your corner. CPA on Fire, accounting and financial services for entrepreneurs. Sarah Connell, Thought Leadership Academy. Jen Rogers, who will help you slay your podcast and get everything set up. And also Lev Jewelers and Lev Media Marketing for all of your marketing, social media marketing needs. So without further ado, we are going to dive in to this very impactful, very powerful and fun conversation with Chalene Johnson. Here we go.
Is there anyone in the room with a broken nail? Please stand. Please stand. Please stand. Please stand. Please stand. Look at, on the way here, 2 thumbs. So 1 broken nail, that's it? No one else willing to admit they have a broken nail? Stand, broken nail, stand. Stand. Is there anything more tragic? My husband's like, what's wrong? He came running in. I'm like, I broke a frickin' nail. He's like, well, okay, but didn't you just have them done? I'm like, that is the point. It is not easy being a girl. It is a pain in the ass to be a girl. Like, I am so taped in and held together and everything. You know, it's interesting that they asked me to come and speak to you about authenticity and, like, being real, and I'm probably the fakest bitch in the room. Let's go through it. Fake hair, fake teeth, fake lashes, fake tan, fake contour, fake boobs. Did I already say hair? Yeah. There's probably a lot of other things I can't think of it right now. But what's interesting is I do like to pride myself on saying that even though all of the outside is like a factory upgrade, as I like to call it. No one will ever call me fake. No one. Because I know the exterior is all like smoke and mirrors and illusion, but I'm going to always tell it like it is. And people have come to know that about me. And it's so much easier to do this than to pretend or to even just like wear a little bit of a mask, right? And so as a group of very successful entrepreneurs, people who are making things happen, you already know that that is part of the secret to your success, is like being real. But isn't it weird how like everyone says they're authentic and no, you're not. No, you're not. Like, it is so funny to hear people say this sometimes. I'm like, you are such a freaking phony. But we're catching on to that, you know? And I think more so than ever, we're catching on to that.
Everyone is talking about soursop, the tropical superfruit with superpowers. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, listen in. If you suffer from inflammation, digestive issues, low energy, or low immune health, there's nothing else like soursop to help your body feel its best. But the soursop fruit is almost impossible to source in the US. So Soursop Nutrition is on a mission to bring you a selection of expertly formulated supplements that give you the benefits of soursop hassle-free. The Soursop Cell Plus Immunity Gummies are gluten-free, non-GMO, and low-carb, and they're a favorite in my house. We also love their shake boosts, which come in 4 flavors, including 2 delicious fall favorites, pumpkin and apple. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I love adding the shakes into my smoothies, and we even add them to our baked treats for the kids, and they love baking with me. They're great for gut health, are full of fiber, and help balance blood sugars, making it a natural weight management aid. Who doesn't love that? The shakes are also 0 sugar, low carb, and gluten-free. Place your first order today and enjoy 20% off with code SANDY20 or use the link in the show notes.
I think social media has been a big piece of that. We see each other, and to some extent it's great because, you know, when I was growing up, like even when I was my first several businesses, there was no social media. There was no YouTube. There was no Instagram. There was no there was nobody who I could spy on and see exactly what they're doing and how they're saying it and how they move and how they, like, we literally can spend hours copying and studying people, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, when I hear people talk about imposter syndrome, I'm like, it's, you know, sometimes it's a good thing to be an imposter, like to get started. Any of you moms, hands up? How many of you felt like, what in the hell am I doing when you're driving your baby home from the hospital? You're like, am I playing house? What is this? And you kind of like pretend you're a mom. Even you're like really a mom, and you're like, I guess this is what we do. I guess we go, oh, hold this head. I guess this is what we say. You know, like you're literally, you're pretending because of other things you saw other people do. And it's kind of how you're successful, is because you watch what someone else has done. You're like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And it gets you started. So for those of you that don't know my backstory, I had created fitness programs for health clubs for 30 years ago. The biggest health clubs in the world, really, because eventually we were global. And I never wanted to be the star of it. I created these workout videos. I created a program that was very much like Jazzercise. So it was like pre-designed workouts, and then I choreographed the music and put the choreography together, and I sold these programs to fitness instructors. We had like 60,000 customers around, fitness instructors around the globe who they'd buy the programs, do the workouts, etc. But like, I didn't have to be the star of it, really. You know what I mean? Like, you were your star in your club. And then infomercial companies were all looking for like their next big fitness thing. This is after Tybo. And so we started getting lots of calls from all the infomercial companies. And when I got my first deal and I had to do my first consumer workout video, the very first day of taping, which I'd filmed videos that I owned and I could send them out to other fitness instructors, but like consumers weren't doing them, you know what I mean? So it was like different. And so now I was like the product. And I'm like, first of all, I don't belong here. Like, what am I doing here? I don't even know where a hamstring insertion is. Like, help me, right? Like, my degree is in justice, morality, and constitutional democracy. I had no clue what I'm doing. So I show up on the set, and actually before I showed up on the set, I was so freaked out. I'm like, oh my God, like this, like Jane Doe in Minnesota is gonna like watch these videos, and she's gonna think that like I'm like those other fitness people. So, and I don't have any clue what I'm doing. I just know how to be me in my club where I'm teaching. So I started studying Kathy Smith, Richard Simmons, like all the like, you know, Denise Austin. I watched all of their, I rented their videos because there wasn't YouTube. I literally rented their videos from Blockbuster. There isn't Blockbuster. Really dating myself. So I watched all their videos, and I took notes. Like, I'm a note taker. And I studied everything, like how they stood. Like, how would you introduce yourself right now if you're in a fitness video? What would you do with your hands? Would your feet be crossed or together? Would you have one hip out? But that's not flattering. So would you stand like everything? Everything freaking matters. So I studied everything. And I showed up on the set to film the first day. And what's interesting is it's a pitch black room. You have people behind you. You know, they're your backup crew or whatever, and there's a camera. But there's nobody in front of you, which is so weird because I was used to teaching a class where I could get energy from your smile. I could get energy from your energy, right? And now there's like this black room and just a camera, and the directors are sitting in a truck outside, right? And so they speak to you inside the room. Like you just hear this like booming voice of Oz. And so I started, Hi, my name is Chalene Johnson. Welcome to Turbo Jam. Today, and I went in I was perfect. I was amazing. And over the loudspeaker, can I cuss? Yeah. Oh, thank God. The director, her name was Andrea. She's done like every fitness video known to man. Girlfriend has all of the tea. And she's like a New Yorker, as raw and mean as they come, like so mean. But I love her. And all of a sudden, over the loudspeaker here, she goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "What did I do? She's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "What did I do?" And then silence. And she came storming into the room with her headset. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What did I do wrong?" She's like, "Where's the girl that I saw in the club? Where's that girl?" I'm like, "Oh, you mean... well, I can do that." She's like, that's why you got this deal. Because you didn't seem like everybody else. Because you're real, because you're messy. I'm like, okay. She's like, embrace your messy. I'm like, okay. I needed to hear that. But yet, it made me feel more confident to show up that day, having studied everybody else. Because it's really very easy to be you. And it's way easier. One of the terms that I really cannot stand is when people say, "I love that you've reinvented yourself." No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I am still the base layer. In fact, I published a video on YouTube on Sunday, and it went like crazy viral. And in it, I reveal all my fakeness. Anyways, one of the comments underneath it I want to share with you because it's like my favorite comment ever. A woman said, "I met you 25 years ago in a bathroom at a 24-hour fitness in Houston, Texas." She said, "You had just finished doing our fitness certification and you were getting changed to catch your flight." And she goes, "I just have to say, the woman I met in that bathroom and the woman in this video is the same exact person. I haven't reinvented myself. There's just layers. And if you know what your base is, you can keep adding layers." For my friends, one of the things I love to do is craft. Like if I could find a way to make millions and millions of dollars crafting, I would do it. Like just gluing rhinestones onto things. So I love crafting. And so one thing that I've been getting into lately is I make fake Barbie cakes for my girlfriends. So I get a round styrofoam, and then you frost it with light spackle, which looks just like frosting, like you could almost eat it. And you just put a little bit of acrylic paint to make it look like whatever color frosting you want, right? So then you frost the cake, and then I learned how to pipe it, and then I put a Barbie on it that looks like her on the top. It's very, very fun. Very, very therapeutic. It's my favorite thing to do. The thing about this cake is I could and can and have messed up the frosting and had to refrost it. And the base is that styrofoam. That base never changes. But if you cut into it, it is fake and it doesn't taste great, right? So it looks good, but it's not real.
Can we just talk about how bedtime used to be for us? Oh my gosh, you guys, I was hanging off one side of the bed. My kids were laying sideways across the entire bed. And my husband, he was literally falling off the bed. Don't even get me started on the stiff necks. We were actually at the chiropractor more than we were sleeping. We just thought that we had to deal with it until we found Alaskan King bed. Now we can actually co-sleep without the kids kicking us all night long. Everyone has plenty of space, and my husband finally stays in the bed. And we all wake up feeling refreshed, like we actually slept the whole night, because we did. If you're a growing family like us, this bed is a total game changer. More space equals more snuggles, less stress, and so much more quality time. And that was the true reason why we fell in love with this bed. Trust me, you will never go back. So head on over to AlaskanKingBeds.com and use code Sandi for a discount. Wishing you and your family sweet dreams from my family to yours. Make sure you head over to AlaskanKingBeds.com.
The base is who you know you are. It's the language that you use. It's the things that align with your values. It's learning to say no to the things that are like, yeah, I know that would give me a leg up, but it feels icky. It feels inauthentic. It feels gross. And when you're at this level, you have a lot of opportunities to network with people, right? I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we make, is that we network with people who we know are full of shit. Right? And I think it hurts your reputation, not just because of alignment, but because it takes you out of alignment with who you are and what you know is real. So how can and this is a true story, I had a friend who, I really, really like this person a lot. And I don't know if I still think I like them. I still think I do. My husband's like, oh no, I've written him off. But I still think I like him. But every time he's like, I've got someone who I want you to meet. They're amazing. I'd love to have you have them on your podcast. This is a great person. Sell me, sell me, sell me, sell me, sell me. I'm like, dude, I know that person. That's so weird that you think that's a great person. They're such a phony. Like what? Like, no, I love you. Thank you for, I guess trying to connect us, but I'm not interested. And they're like, oh, but this person has a huge platform. They could do a swap with you, but I don't care. So now in my mind, I really do question him, the guy who keeps trying to introduce me to these people. That I'm like, but like, I have to question your authority then, It's that person who is buying even followers and likes. Can I trust? Like, that's trust, And trust me, we've all been there where we're like, wait a second, I can get how many likes? And I'm sure you've considered it. But it's these kinds of things that, over time, you can't keep showing up in a new vertical, in a new space, and have people say they're still relevant. Because the only thing that is truly irrelevant and timeless is truth. Once you've lost someone's trust, you're done. You're done. I had a meeting yesterday with a company that I kind of like their stuff. But I haven't been using it long enough to know like what the customer service experience really is, and I don't love it. but I was offered a really great deal yesterday. And I'm like, this is exactly what I'm going to be talking about today is like, if it's not 100%, it hurts my trust with you. And then I don't have you with me 25 years later after a chance meeting in a bathroom, right? Like, it is you being all the way real, knowing, obviously, that it's not going to be for everybody. And that's okay. That's fine. You know, I don't need you to like me. I don't, right? I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. But I do hope to be respected. And that's all that I can ask for. And if I'm all the way me, I'm going to attract people who have my sense of humor. And they're so much cooler. I'm going to attract people who have ADHD and don't mind that they've just told me they have cancer. And I'm like, oh, I'm so, but your earrings are gorgeous. Like, I'm distracted. But you don't hold that against me. You understand that I have empathy and also a desire to know where you got your earrings from. So when we are ourselves, it's so much easier and it's so much more fun. It's so much more fun in your business. You don't have to reinvent yourself. You don't have to rebrand yourself. You just be yourself, and whatever the new thing is that you're obsessed with and you want to do, you just do it. And people, for some reason, will say, you continually stay relevant, or you do such a great job of reinventing yourself. But, like, do we really want to be around someone who's, like, completely it's like you're a whole new person? No, I can have a whole new interest. I can dress different. I can change my body. I can change my hair. I can change the exterior. But what's in the middle has to be the same. We have to find the strength to stop looking at what other people are doing, because it's really kind of bullshit anyways. I mean, you all know that, right? Like, and especially the people who are the most perfect online, it's like, that's just not in style anymore. All you're doing is pissing me off. Right? We hate watch their social stories. Am I right? Yeah. We're looking for something. We're like, look, no matter how perfect and beautiful it is, you're like, whatever. You're looking for the cracks. You're looking for because you just don't buy it. And we're hardwired to look for and scan for scams, right? It's like when someone knocks at your door and you see two kids with a clipboard, what is your first thought? Right, I'm like, hi. I'll crawl to the door, right? I'm like, no, you don't live in this neighborhood. No, this isn't for your varsity basketball team. Like, you're 27 years old. But even when they're like super believable, you still are like, right? We just really always feel like, I'm not going to be scammed. And the more of a story, the more polished, the more perfect something seems, what have we always been told? If it's too good to be true, it probably is. And so for those of you who are like feeling that pressure to look a certain way, to be a certain way, to dress a certain way, to wear a certain shoe, to carry a certain purse, all the things, like, that's kind of exterior stuff. But what's really important is that once you know who you are, you don't want to keep looking at what other people are doing. I don't consume anyone's social media, especially in my space. Anyone who does what I do, I don't look, because I don't want to be influenced. I don't want to show up on social and have Andrea come back in the room and say, what the fuck are you doing? What is this? And if you watch social, and we have to talk about social because that's where we're showing up, right? That's where we attract people. It's the same language. Just the same language. It's so weird. Like, hey guys, I just wanted to pop on here real quick. Who says that in real life? Like, do you call your friend and you're like, hey girl, I just wanted to pop on here real quick. No, you don't. Like, but like I catch myself saying that too. I'm like, well, why am I saying this? Because I've heard so many other people say, like, just talk. Open up your phone, and it's FaceTime. It's not an audience. It's FaceTime. Don't say, hey, guys. Don't say, all of you've been asking. Like, just say, okay, I need to tell you this. Like the way you would talk to your girl, right? That's really important because I think we're consuming too much social media. I think that you need to unfollow a lot of pretty perfect people in your space. Because I think they're making you less authentic just by accident. I know it was true for me. You can't help but see, oh my God, they just got so many likes on that. They're getting so much traction. They're getting so many opportunities. You just see other people's success, right? And you go, well, I guess that's what I should be doing too. Except that we don't know, truly. First of all, even if their success is real, if the likes are real, if the followers are real, if the comments are real, if the person is real, oh my God, AI, right? But the most real thing you can do is be who you are, how you are, when you're with the people who just like they are obsessed with you, your friends, your family, right? It's like, if you show up like that, it's just so much easier. It's so much more comforting. You know those people that like, it's almost hard to be around them because they're so perfect? You know what I mean? And you're just like, I'm just not enough in any way, shape, or form. I don't have the right vocabulary. I'm not wearing the right clothes. I don't have the right resume. I don't have enough experience, like all those things. And think about how uncomfortable it is to be around them. Like you just don't feel like you're enough. And then think about how amazingly different it feels when you're around someone who's like, their energy is completely different. Because you know they're confident in who they are. That's it. That's the difference. Confidence is an energy that makes other people feel comfortable. It makes other people feel like, I'm who I'm supposed to be, like I'm enough. And that is truly, I think, especially right now, is the ultimate differentiator. There's a million people who do whatever it is you do. And I don't know what you do. But whatever you do, there's a million other people who do it. Even if you think you're the only one, you are not. People tell me that all the time. They're like, I'm the only one. I'm like, no, you're not. The only way you can stand out is to truly be you. And it's not earth-shattering. It's minor. People think like, okay, if I'm going to differentiate in my business, I don't know what that is. I'm sure you've worked with coaches or watched branding content or studied other people who are like, okay, to really elevate your business, to elevate your personal brand to the next level, you have to know what's uniquely different about you. And we think that's going to be something huge, right? Like I've had this insane story, or I've overcome this thing, or I have this special talent, or I have, I've trademarked this name or this technique or this strategy. That's not true. What makes somebody different, it's very minor, but it's highlighting those things because that's what you like about yourself. I'm going to use Gary Vaynerchuk. Anyone know who that is? Okay. So he's a speaker who teaches business. What's unique about him? One of the things is he curses. Like, that's just language. Language. Even the words that he uses, how he dresses. He's not going to show up dressed up. He's not going to be in a suit. He's going to be, in a hoodie. Bethany Frankel. I think she's in Miami right now. Is she here today? Just so what I will say about Bethany, and I'm like I said, I tell it like it is. I don't think Bethany's probably a girl's girl. People are like, you should hang out with Bethany. I'm like, I don't think Bethany's a girl's girl. But you know what Bethany is? She is honest. That's right. She does not give a fuck. And, I remember hearing about the story about her going on, I can't remember if it was HSN or QVC. It was one of the two. And it was about the time when Skinny Girl brand was taking off like crazy, right? And she had developed a bathing suit line that made you look slimmer. And in order to get on one of those shows, I've been on one of those shows, it is a nightmare. It takes so much time. You have to continually fly out. They make you go through their on-air training. You have to ship all of your product there. You have to on-air test. They have to assume that you're going to make, I think it's at the time, last time I heard, it was about $10,000 in sales per minute in order to go on the show. It's a lot. There's so much legal red tape. To get on a show like that is a pain in the butt, right? So you've got to ship everything there. It all has to be special skewed just for QVC, and you have to sign a 1-year agreement that it will never be a better offer will not be made publicly for 1 year if you have your products on QVC HSN. So, in other words, they are telling their customer, you don't have to worry about shopping for the best. This is the best offer, right? So she gets her bathing suit line on, and have any of you ever manufactured clothing or products or anything, hands up? I mean, like when it arrives, you're like, like sometimes it arrives like the day of whatever. We manufactured clothing fitness clothing for quite a while, and a lot of times, some of the shipment would show up the day of the fashion show, like the day of the event. It was crazy. And so this happened to her. The bathing suits showed up at QVC, and she's about to go on air. And she's going through the bathing suits, and they're just horrible quality. And she said, I can't go on air. And they're like, we can fix it. We can, we'll send these back. Let's just sell them. And, they're fine. We've got to go on air. And she's like, I won't. I won't. And walked away from that deal and had to eat all of those costs and the costs associated with stepping away. But she walked away with the most valuable thing I think any of us can have, and that is our integrity, right? When I was doing fitness infomercials, I lost who I was slowly. It doesn't happen fast. It happens slow, especially if you know who you are, right? And so I signed my first infomercial deal in 2004, and I sold my company to that company in 2011. And I had a 10-year deal in place where I had to still consult. And I still had to do 2 more infomercials for them. When I was doing one of my last infomercials, I still had 1 more to do. And I could do as many as I wanted. I could do them indefinitely. Why wouldn't I, right? Making a ton of money, sitting at home, you film the content, they sell it for you. It was amazing. I could do my own thing on the side. But I felt I wasn't the boss, right? Like I had a partner. And they had lots of partners and lots of directors and producers and departments. And it's a business. You have to, in order to think about this, in order to create new fitness programs, you need to be better than the last. Your body needs to be better than the last workout you did, or why am I buying this? How about that? You have to be better than you were. You have to be, and you know what better means, right, in that industry? Thinner. You need to be thinner. So every time I did a video, that was basically what I was told is, for this one, you need to show up smaller and smaller. And eventually I'm like, first of all, this isn't me, but I'll do that. Okay, fine, I can do that, but I'm still gonna be me. And there was a moment when I was speaking directly to the camera, to the consumer. Now I'm filming the infomercial piece, not the workout, where I'm, you've seen them late night, right? Like, hey, and So I'm looking directly in the camera and I said, I'm reading the teleprompter, and you can get results like these in just 30 minutes a day eating real food. And I thought, well, that's the biggest bunch of bullshit. That's not true. That's a lie for me, and I stopped. And I walked off, and I was very emotional because I hadn't eaten in months. And I walked over to the director, and when you're in that state, you're just a crazy person, right? And I'm like, I can't. This is a lie. I can't say this. And he was like, okay. He was a nice guy. He was just hired, and he was like, okay. Let me ask you this: could it be true for someone? I'm like, I understood what he was saying. It could be true for someone. But I made a decision. That moment, I would never do it again. I was done. I was contractually obligated to say the things that I said, but I wasn't willing to say that one sentence. And I wasn't willing to do that, reading somebody else's words, ever again. So the next infomercial, thank you. It was such a relief. I couldn't announce that to the world, but I changed. Like, there was a shift in me that I was like, yeah, I get to decide what I want to do and how. And I get to decide what's in alignment with me and what's not. And it's okay if that's in alignment with somebody else. It's not in alignment with me. So the next infomercial deal that I did with them, I sat down at the table and I said, I can't say anything on a teleprompter that I wouldn't say. I will only do this infomercial if I film it with my iPhone, my words. I get to talk to her. You don't get to tell me what to fucking wear. You don't get to tell me what to say. I get to film it. And that was Payo, and it was a #1 fitness infomercial. We sold tens of millions of DVDs. And so, I know, does anyone even own a DVD player anymore? Just in case, right? Just in case. And I filmed it on my iPhone on the wrong settings. Like, it was blurry. It's like, it wasn't even on 1080. But it worked, and the reason why it worked, and you can see it on YouTube, like if you just type in Payo infomercial, the reason why it worked is because I wasn't reading someone else's script. It was my words. Your customer, your clients, they speak your language. They don't want to hear kind of a mishmash of other people who you follow, who you think are amazing, and you think you need to show up or be in some way, shape, or form like them, because you don't. You don't have to fit. In fact, you don't want to fit in with all the people in your industry, because is whatever industry you're in, is there a lot of cloning going on? Some industries are worse than others, but yeah, there's a lot of cloning going on. And some of it's kind of funny, isn't it? It's so much easier to not do that. But again, I'm not talking about the exterior stuff. That's true too. You can change all that. But the most important thing is your values, your words, how you show up, and who you show up for. Because authenticity, realness, trust is the ultimate currency. Once you lose it, it's real hard to get it back, real hard. And wearing a mask is very uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for you, it's uncomfortable for the people around you, and eventually it slips off. Any of you following the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni situation, right? And you know how like these old interviews have popped up of her being like not so friendly? I remember I'm watching, I'm like, what's the big deal? Like, so she said, how's your little bump? I'm like, so who cares? Like, really? Like, this is a big deal? Like, who cares that she's, like, these old interviews, I'm setting aside the allegations. These old interviews, they're like, who cares? But it was so alarming to people. You know why? Because people were finding little moments where the mask slipped off, I think. But again, if we're gonna refer to like Bethany Frankel, to find an interview moment like that with Bethany Frankel, you'd be like, that's on brand, right? Like, she's gonna be in a bad mood sometimes, and she's not gonna pretend to be. It was why she gave up her TV talk shows, because she's like, I can't pretend to be in a good mood like Ellen does every day. I can't do that. Some days I wanna be in a bad mood. I feel ya, right? And when I'm in a bad mood, don't try to force me into being in a good mood. No, let me do this. This is my moment to be in a bad mood. But that's the difference, it's when people see the mask has slipped off, even for a moment, they're like, oh, I knew it. That I had a feeling you were fake, right? Like, we're waiting for that moment. So take the mask off and let them see it up front. Let them see the blemishes. Let them see who you really are, even the things that you assume that they won't like, because they might not like them. But for somebody else, they're gonna say, God, I've been waiting for somebody to say that. I've been waiting for somebody I've been waiting for someone to show up like that, so I have permission to be who I know I am. Thank you for this time, you guys. I love you. Appreciate you.